It's Sunday, September 4th, and here we are back at the hangar. We didn't get up here yesterday. We had a day trip out of town to go to something, but we are back, and don't know how long we'll be up here. We got getting a late start today, and it is about 100 degrees outside. We've left the door shut at the hangar here, try and keep it cool. I think it was 104 yesterday. It's supposed to be 100 today and probably 100 tomorrow too. So we'll see what we get. But look what we've got. We've got a pair of Aerosport carbon fiber wingtips that came in this week, and so we're gonna crack that box open, take a look at them, make sure everything's okay, check them out. Probably won't do any work on it, but at least get a look at them. And still working on this pulley mystery for the rudder cable. I'm going to do a little more troubleshooting, but I think we're going to take those Station 8 pulleys out and redo those bushings that are on there. We'll refabricate those and just kind of start over on that, do a reset on those pulleys. But yeah, so that's what we've got planned for today, and if anything else gets done, then that's a bonus. So hey, here we go. I got the wingtips unboxed, and everything looks okay with tips, no damage or anything like that. In shipping, the box looked really good. And I just want to show the difference between the stock tips and the Aerosport tips. You can see that shape there. It's a bit longer, and yeah, this back end is all the way flat, as opposed to coming down to a tip like the factory tip does. Yeah, I mean, I can feel that vibration just rolling this back and forth. You can see it on that pulley. Right there. Alright, well, you saw I took the pulleys off, obviously, and moved them back and forth on that cable, and it still does the same thing, that jittering, vibrating kind of type thing. So we unhooked the rudder cables from the front and took that loose so we could get this outside. I'm going to put maybe another 1/8 or 1/4 turn on this nut and bolt and see if that fixes it. These U brackets are pretty loose in here where those come together, but I'm gonna give that a try and test it out, see what we get. Alright, got these pulleys, took the slack off the cable, put some slack in the cable here, pulled the pulleys out through the bottom access holes. And I did notice on this one pulley for the one side, when we put it together, I don't know if I can, let's see if I can get this turned so I can show you. Can you see how it bends in on the bottom? The bottom side is bent in to fit that pulley, and the top side is straight. Well, that offset that pulley a little bit off of that bolt where it comes up through there, and that bolt is used the end of that bolt is what holds that cable inside of that pulley. It does it without rubbing on it, but just keeps it from jumping out of there. So I think I'm gonna put a washer in there to offset this bracket a little bit so that that pulley lines up with that bolt. Then we can put another probably like 1/8 of a turn on this. See if we can just take a little bit of the looseness out of this where these two U brackets connect without actually making them tight. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, I didn't show any of the work we did on these two those two pulley assemblies. I just couldn't get a right angle on it with the camera. I wouldn't have been able to videotape any of that stuff that would make sense to show. But got this put back together. Ended up doing we did a thin washer. We did thick washer, thin washer on both sides of that pulley, and it kept that U bracket from bending in as much as it was before. I think that might have been causing part of the problem. And the other thing was I did another probably a 1/8 to maybe a quarter, not quite a quarter turn on this bolt that attaches those together there. And I've got this safety wired up here because I did the torque seal on that, and I didn't want this to be flopping in the breeze until that gets dried out, so we left it like that. Checked the bushings after we took this out, and I think those are fine. Those bushings seem to be okay. So tomorrow when we come back up, we'll put this all back together and see what we get, and if it's still doing it, then I have no idea. And we checked these pulleys. When we took these out, I checked these pulleys, and they are fine. Like, there is no looseness. They roll super nice, really smooth. So I think they're fine. But we'll see what we get tomorrow and go from there. Moving on to flap lever assembly here. We wanted to get going on something else besides those rudder cable pulleys, and plus we got the torque seal on there that needs to dry out before we do anything more with that. So we're moving on in the book, and we are up to flap lever here. So we're getting things assembled together, and we'll get started on that. Hot and smoky today. Yeah, hot and smoky. That's about all I can say. Hey, we are done for today. We got a late start, and it's getting a little late. It's still pretty toasty outside, and therefore getting toasty in the hangar. So we're just gonna call it a day. But yeah, you saw we got those bushings machined for the flap handle assembly, and boy, I tell you what, if you're going through this process of building, really, if you can get your hands, even on that lathe that I'm using is ancient, but man, that thing comes in handy a lot. So if you can get your hands on one or know somebody that has a lathe that you can use, when you're making bushings, it's really, really nice. So anyways, hey, we'll be back up tomorrow, and we're going to pick back up on those reinstalling those rudder cable pulleys, and probably maybe do a little more work on that flap handle assembly and see what else we can get done. So anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and that's it for now.